Setting permissions is how you determine what level of functionality users are granted on your collaboration site. Only site owners and SharePoint administrators can grant permissions to users. Since your parent site was created by the Battalion's administrator with portions of the permission granting process completed, this training will assume that no changes have been made since then. Understanding how to set and use permissions can be confusing, so let's start by defining elements of the permission granting process. There are 3 elements you need to understand in order to grant permissions. These elements are permission levels and functionality, SharePoint groups, and SharePoint site users. The term users includes individual names and battalion lists that contain multiple names. First, let's look at permission levels and see how they affect the user. Though there are 5 permission levels with varying functionalities, the ones you will grant to users are read, contribute, or full control. Read allows users to visit and read the site. Contribute allows users to create and edit wiki pages, to add, edit, and delete items in lists and libraries, and set alerts for lists and libraries. Full control allows users to do all the above, plus create sites and subsites, customize site pages, and create and change lists and libraries and set site permissions. Be cautious when giving someone full control. Usually, only the highest level supervisors in each work unit should have full control. Everyone you want to allow into your collaboration site must be granted one of these levels. If a person has not been granted one of these permission levels and tries to go to your collaboration site, they will get an access denied error message. Now let's talk about SharePoint groups. When granting permissions, you can give permission to individuals or to groups. Since maintaining site permissions is easier when using groups, the Battalion administrators already created 3 groups for you and set their permission level. They are visitors, members, and owners. They are part of your collaboration site and are ready for your use. The visitors group has been granted the read permission level and has already been populated with everyone in the battalion. The members group has been granted the contribute permission level, but is empty and ready for you to populate. And the owners group has been granted the full control permission level and includes work unit supervisors. You can create additional groups when needed. However, as the site owner, you are responsible for maintaining the owners group, the members group, and any other group you create. Note, the Battalion IMO will maintain the visitors group. Now, let's look at SharePoint users and see how you populate a group. SharePoint users are either individuals or battalion lists containing multiple names. To populate your groups, you will add individual names, a battalion list, or both into the desired group. This allows them into your site with whatever permission level you grant to the group. Since you are responsible for maintaining the owners group, the members group, and any new group you create, let's learn the easiest way to do this. Maintaining a group is no more than adding and/or deleting names in a timely fashion. In this example, a battalion site owner determined he needed a field support group that would include everyone in S3, S4, AMPA, and the battalion secretaries. He created the group, called it Field Support, and granted it contribute level permissions. After populating the group, when he was finished, there were 22 names in it. Over a period of 6 months, 2 individuals retired, 3 PCS'd, and 1 took a job in another battalion. To maintain the group, the site owner had to remove those 6 names from the group and then add the 6 new names of the individuals who replaced those who left. You can see that maintaining a group in this manner could be time-consuming, and a name could easily slip through the cracks and not be removed or added when required. Now, let's see how this group would work using lists instead of individual names. By using the battalion list, the site owner could quickly add the list to the group rather than inputting the 22 individual names. And since the IMO maintains these lists, when a person leaves or comes into the battalion, the IMO will remove or add the name to the list. You can see how much easier using lists can be, and though there may be times you must use an individual's name, whenever possible, populate your groups using a battalion list. Now let's review the process you should follow when granting permissions. First, determine and create any user groups you will need. Remember, the IMO created 3 groups for you already. Second, grant permission levels to the groups. Third, populate the groups with users. Let's look at this process in more detail. Go to your site homepage or the homepage of a subsite you created. Under the Site Actions drop-down menu, select Site Permissions. In this example, we're creating a new group for AMPA. On the next screen, the Permission Tools tab allows you to inherit permissions, grant permissions, or create a group. Click on Create Group. Remember, if you create a new group, you will also need to provide maintenance for that group. On this screen, name the new group and type in a description for it. If you create several groups, the description will help you know when to use each group. You can see we named this group Confidential AMPA Group and said it is for training purposes. In the next section, the Group Owner box defaulted to an individual name. You can make the owner of the group either an individual user or a group, but not both. Since only the owner is able to change anything about the group, such as adding or removing members or changing the group's permission level, it's recommended to change this section to be your collaboration site owners. This way, more than one person will be able to maintain the group. The next two items, group settings and membership requests, should usually be left on the default, but you can change them if desired. The last section lets you set the permission level or functionality for the group. Though there are 5 levels available, you should only select Read, Contribute, or Full Control. Check the box next to the appropriate permission level, then click on Create. Note, if need be, the permission level of your group can be changed after the group is created. On the next screen, the newly created group appears in the Quick Launch area and shows the owner who will be able to make changes to it. If at a later date you no longer need to use the group, though the group cannot be deleted from the database, it can have its permissions removed from your parent site or sub-site. Now that you know how to create a new group and give it permissions, let's see how you add and remove users from a group. Under the Site Actions drop-down menu, select Site Permissions. Then on the Permissions tool page, click on the name of the group to add a new user to it. On the next screen, click on the New drop-down menu and select Add Users. In the Select Users field, add the names of everyone you want in the group. This can be individuals or a battalion list, or both. The names you add must resolve in order to be used. This will be explained later. Also note, you cannot add a group to another group. If you want to send an email to the new users, fill out the Send Email section. Then click OK. This shows the new users that you just added to the group and confirms the name of the group. Now, let's look at how you delete or remove a user from a group. To remove a user in a group, navigate to the Permissions Tools page by going to the Site Permissions link under the Site Actions menu and click on a group name to view all the users in that group. In this example, we've selected the AMPA Members group. The next screen shows all members in the AMPA group. Check the box next to the username you want to remove. This can be a battalion list, an individual, or both. We've chosen to remove Janet Tackett and the battalion's budget list. Under the Actions drop-down menu, select Remove Users from Group. A warning pop-up allows you to select Cancel or to remove the user from the group by clicking OK. Now let's see how you grant permissions to an individual rather than a group. Anytime you want to add a user to a group or grant permissions directly to an individual or battalion list without putting them in a group, you will need to resolve the name. Let's see how this works. Go to your collaboration site homepage or your sub-site homepage. Under the Site Actions drop-down menu, select Site Permissions. On the next screen, click on the Grant Permissions link. Type a person's name or a battalion list name in the Users Groups box. You can type in multiple names if desired. Next, you will need to resolve the names. Resolving a name merely means the individual name or battalion list is available for your use. To do this, after typing in the names, click on the Check Name icon. If the name is underlined, as shown in this example, then it has been resolved and you can grant permissions to it. If, after typing in a name, it is italicized and underlined in red, a message below it will read, "No exact match was found. Click the items that did not resolve for more options." This lets you know the name must be resolved before you can grant permissions to it. In this example, you can see that Janet Tackett's name did not resolve. Mouse over the unresolved name and then click on it if a message box appears that reads, "Multiple entries matched. Please click to resolve." A drop-down menu will appear with the name or multiple names in it. Select the correct name. If the name now appears in black in the Users Groups box, it has been resolved. If you cannot resolve the name in this manner, click on the Global Lookup icon. To resolve a name using the global icon on the Select People and Groups pop-up screen, type in the person's name or the battalion list name and click on the magnifying glass. If the name displays, select it. Click the Add button, then click OK. Once you get the names resolved, the next step is to grant permissions by either adding them to a group, i.e. visitors, members, etc., or granting them permissions directly. If you select Add Users to a SharePoint Group, use the drop-down menu to select the group with the desired permission functionality. All the groups created previously will appear in the drop-down menu. The drop-down shows which functionality the group has, such as read, contribute, or full control. Once you select a group, add an email message if desired, then click OK. If you do not want to send an email, uncheck the Send Welcome Email to New Users box. The alternative to granting permissions using a group is to grant permissions directly. To do so, select the Grant Users Permission Directly button, then check the box next to the desired permission level. You should only select either Full Control, Contribute, or Read. The Design and View Only options require additional software not available to Battalion site owners. Once you have chosen the permission level, add an email message if desired, then click OK to grant permission. If you do not want to send an email, uncheck the Send Welcome Email to New Users box. After granting permission to a user, you will be returned to the Permissions Tools page. It shows all groups and/or individuals that have access to your site or subsite, including the new users you just added. You can check the permission levels by looking to the right side of the screen. There may be times that you need to remove permissions for either an individual user or a group. Let's see how this is done. To remove permissions for an individual user or a complete group, go to your parent site or the subsite homepage where you want to remove permissions. Under the Site Actions drop-down menu, select Site Permissions. Check the box next to a username. This can be an individual, a list, or a group. In this example, we selected a group and an individual. Click on Remove User Permissions at the top of the page. A warning pop-up will allow you to cancel the deletion or approve it. Click OK to remove permissions for the user. Note, removing permissions from a group does not delete the group, it merely deletes its permission for that site or subsite. The group can be re-granted permissions later or granted permissions to another subsite at any time. At first glance, granting permissions can seem a little daunting, but in reality the process is fairly simple. Let's recap what site owners need to do to use and maintain their collaboration site permissions. First, add names or battalion lists to your members group. Remember, this group was already created for you and given contribute level permissions, but it is empty until you add members. If you want additional site owners that will have full level permissions, add names to your owners group. If you create subsites, either inherit your parent site permissions or choose to have unique permissions. If you choose unique permissions for a subsite and want to limit the visitors and members, create new visitors and members groups. After you create the new groups, add names to them. And finally, maintain your groups by adding and deleting names and/or battalion lists when appropriate. Understanding site permissions is critical to controlling your collaboration site. Use this link to learn more about site permissions. For your convenience, a summary of each training module with links to additional online training and a quick reference guide can be found on the Battalion's collaboration homepage in the Quick Launch area. This concludes the SharePoint training for collaboration site owners.